A Halfling Sonder, Sven's Story. By Illyria Valischin. Chapter 1. One of the oddest predicaments of Sven's life starts out in a dungeon jail cell, where the previous night's activities were well forgotten. The only reason he seemed to be stirring from what we can assume is a drunken slumber are the bellowing hollers of the other prisoners throughout the building, some even going as far as to scream out their frustrations. It takes some time for him to wake and adjust to the surroundings. His brain can hardly grasp that he is laying on a damp floor, when something fuzzy climbs over his outstretched hand, causing it to quickly retract into his chest. Taking in a deep breath, his nose is quickly overcome with the smell of beatniks and feces. His heart starts to pound while he takes in a few more deep gagging breaths, as the utter confusion of how the events of the last night had gotten him into a jail cell. How in the world did he wind up in this predicament? He had only been looking for his friend Kerp. As a few more moments pass, the shock and fogginess in his brain begin to ease. A thought dawns on him as he relaxes, seeing that he is not in immediate danger. He had been out, talking to all their friends and neighbors, asking them if they had seen or heard from Kerp, but no one had, at least not since letting everyone know he was going fishing in the harbor. Frustration at realizing he hadn't made much progress, and that Willa would be very disappointed in this news. Sven had agreed to find him on the behalf of Willa. She was Kerp's twin sister, and it had been a month since she had last seen him. She just knew something had to be very wrong. They'd never gone so long without talking to each other. The two of them had always been close, even if they had gotten into a fight. The silence between the two of them wouldn't last longer than a week. Knowing this, Sven could tell Willa had become very upset over her missing brother, and seeing her like this only upset him. Giving his head a bit of a shake to get the rest of the fog out, Sven tried to remember anything else. The search had led only to dead ends so far. Everyone saying the same thing. Kerp said that he was going to go fishing and would be back once he had gotten enough. What would be enough? The damn fellow had been gone for near a month now. Even the local fishermen didn't stay out this long on their deep-sea ventures. It was beginning to feel like an utter goose chase looking for Kerp. That is until he went to the little shack Kerp called home. There was so much dust about that it looked like Kerp had been gone much longer than a month. A very visible layer of undisturbed dust had coated everything in sight. Even the pillows on Kerp's bed were covered in the thick layer of dust. The thought that maybe Kerp never went home before he disappeared made Sven pause for thought. What if Kerp had been staying elsewhere now? What if he was with someone else? That was preposterous, as Kerp and Willa always shared everything. Not to mention Kerp was always one to boast on whatever new adventure he had been doing, even when Kerp himself thought he could be a runner for Sven's father. No. It just didn't make sense that he would just vanish like that, with nothing really showing any promise of help. Sven turned and began to leave the building when a bright flash overwhelmed his senses, causing complete and utter confusion. This memory of a blinding light causes Sven to gasp in more of the putrid air around. His hands reach up instinctively trying to block out the memory of light, while his ears begin to ring of the faint whistle that was high enough to make any hound howl. Unable to protect his eyes or his ears from the memory, he lets out a low groan of pain. As his memory fades into nothingness, Sven lays down on the cool, damp floor, the pain washing over him in waves as his body relives the memory. He tries not to focus on it as his pulse courses through his temples. Not entirely sure what happened after that. It takes a bit for Sven's pain to calm down enough for him to stand unstably against the grimy wall. A shudder of pain passes over him as he begins to walk across the cobblestone floor to the dome-shaped iron door. He peers out into the hall, seeing a few fellows crouched in the little light given off by the lanterns on the wall, most of them looking very disheveled and uneasy themselves, some even giving off the vibe of being deranged. Thank you for listening to my story. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.